My earliest memory of the church physically is having been a student here at Carolina, walking by and having no real knowledge of it per se, just there was a church here. I never attended any church in Chapel Hill when I was at Carolina because I drove home every weekend to play the organ at my dad's church. So actually, I came in here after I'd been contacted by the church, but before we had set up any kind of interview. I came in the front door, just kind of eased in, didn't go to the office, didn't let anybody know I was here, just sort of lingered at the back and just got a sense of the room. And I thought then, and I've thought ever since then, that it was a significant place. It was one of those places in which there is a thin veil between the obvious and the spiritual.
We were just weeks away from Aaron's birth. I stopped and sat in the pew right over there, and Mitch stepped into the pulpit, and we both just paused, and it was very quiet for a long time. And I think I could kind of see this was our future. This was where we would be. We hoped for a very long time. It felt like an honor to be in this historic room and to think of being able to serve right here on this important corner.
I think probably my earliest memory is after all the numerous church services, when everything would wrap up, I would, as fast as I could, take off down the halls of UBC. And I remember Mom chasing me through the halls of UBC, telling me to slow down because if I didn't stop running, I was going to knock some old lady over and break a hip.
This is really a sacred space for a lot of different reasons, and I use that word particularly because it transcends just the experiences in the sanctuary, but places like the new fellowship hall where I went to countless father-daughter dances, and I mean that's where I learned how to expect to be treated by the men in my life. I've carried this church family with me wherever I've gone. I've always known that this was a safe place to which I can return, whether that be going off to school or going off to internships or moving across the country. I always knew that there were people praying for me.
One of the things I hope you will take with you to school this week is a smile. I don't mean you have to smile all the time. That wouldn't be natural. But have your smile ready, because there will be people, boys and girls just like you, who are a little bit scared. There are many things that make Dad unique as a pastor. His firm belief that 1970s music is still relevant to most people in the congregation. His use of the word irascible, we could go on. The thing that I think is so unique about him is that he brings to bear all of the literature and philosophy and scripture and current events that he has somehow ever consumed as though it were yesterday. And this very bright Moorhead scholar and doctorate of the humanities incorporates all of that into a 15-minute sermon about scripture we have all heard before.
Authentic comes to mind. Just truly authentic and never afraid to speak the truth, and truth to power, he always says. It's amazing, all that knowledge in one head. It's really cool how he brings it to the sermons, and I just love it.
This congregation has from the first allowed and expected a free pulpit. They do not require that they agree with everything I say theologically, but they grant me that hearing because I have been at their bedsides, because I have been there in those unspeakable moments.
The most important memory I have of Mitch outside the pulpit is actually a really meaningful one. He was visiting with Charles for some reason in our old house, and I had happened to have been really suffering at that point with postpartum depression, but very reluctant and refusing to take any sort of antidepressant. And he spent a good bit of time with me that day. And it was on my knees in my bedroom, reading Richard Foster, that I heard God's voice say, Susan, take the antidepressant. That's what you need to do. And so Mitch probably doesn't remember that, and I don't think I've had the opportunity to tell him personally how much that may have actually saved my life. So
Ethan was born probably a year or so after we started coming to church, a year and a half. And it wasn't a couple of days after he was born, Mitch and Betty, they show up with the milkshakes and everything, and you're in this place, and it's real tough. You have no idea what's going to happen and all that kind of stuff. And then Mitch and Betty show up with milkshakes, and it just kind of brightens the day. And then you can look at that and talk to that there's going to be some hope that you're going to get through this.
I think for Dad, the role of being a pastor didn't stop on Sunday. It was a 24-hour job. There are moments when we'd be on a road trip. Dad would go inside to pay for gas, and he'd be in there for 10, 15 minutes, and then he'd come out and get back in the car, and he would have a story about the gas station attendant. He would know their name and their deepest struggles and what they were wrestling with most in that moment. That was a reflection of Dad's calling.
A favorite memory Pastor Simpson is when my family came to the United States. He visited our apartment and delivered the bunk bed for my son and my daughter.
Yeah, he fixed it himself for my son Mangsa and son Nyang. He is waiting so much, and I cannot say anything because I cannot speak English. So I said, do you want some drink, water or juice? I said, but no, I'm good. And yeah, after he left, my son, he was very happy. And he jumped his bunk bed the top to the bottom.
He's an excellent pastor because he loves us unconditionally. Our family, not only our family, but also the Chin community.
I came to get married, and he offered, no charge at all. And I think that was very loving and caring for me. When I first came in here and I saw him up there, and I said, this is nice. I like this. I said, you know what? I said, I think that man is going to marry me in this church. Not marry me, but perform the wedding ceremony, Me and Quentin going to get married. I said, I want him to marry. I told God that. And God seen it so.
People in this congregation might not realize that my dad was always 100% present with his congregation and 100% present as a dad. Watching him leave in the middle of the night to go be with someone in crisis, or leaving vacations early as a family because someone needed him here, that always took precedent. When he was needed, he was there. But I just want people to know that he never gave so much of himself that he didn't have anything left for his family.
One of the things I think a lot of folks have not been privileged to see is the way my dad loves my mom. People get to see Mitch bring milkshakes when they have kids, but no one gets to see Mitch bring flowers to mom on a random Tuesday to her classroom, and for him to walk around the school and be known not as Pastor Simpson, Dr. Simpson, but as Betty's husband. And he couldn't be more proud of that title.
Our church family has been like family to us, like adoptive grandparents for our children, like cousins and brothers and sisters. They've been our friends. They have walked with us when our parents died and when I lost a sibling. They have been right there with us through the happiest and saddest of times, and we are and will be eternally grateful for their kindness.
Oh gosh, it's, the danger is you try to sum up 30 years, or in my case, 47 years in the pastorate, and say something clever or something concise. But honestly, I think the early church, in 3 words, their credo, had it right, and we've not improved on it since then. And the 3 words are, Jesus is the Lord. Yeah, there's a great hymn that says, I need no other argument, I need no other plea. It is enough that Jesus died and that he died for me.